If you are a Canadian citizen and you haven't been visiting the moon, you probably know about the robocall election fraud scandal. It's only one of several scandals that come out about the Conservative Party in recent years, but it's a big one because in this case we're talking election fraud here. Calling people who are not Conservative supporters intentionally to physically prevent them from getting to the polls to cast their votes as citizens, as members of a democratic country. This is a perversion of democracy, of people's right to vote, and for the honesty, the truth of what party really is the popular party in the country. Harper and the Conservatives only got in by a hair, remember, just by a hair. At this point, election fraud has been reported in 10 provinces, all 10 provinces across the country, in about 200 ridings. So it wouldn't take a lot to establish that they did not, in fact, earn this majority government. If it can be proved in some of these ridings, resulting in re-elections, the Conservatives could lose their majority and we would have a coalition government, which I've wanted from the start, because you can't get more democratic than a coalition, because it's all the parties coming together as one, rather than one party at the top. It's true democracy. It'd be the exact opposite of what we've been experiencing, which is a far-right political party at this point. Under Harper and his reformist group that control the party, it's a far-right political party, with Harper acting as a dictator, not listening, but dictating how everything's going to be, and everyone under him like a bunch of puppets, unable to even answer a yes or a no question when speaking with a reporter because they have to stay on script. They don't dare go off of it. That's pathetic. That is not very Canadian, but that's the state of things. And since this has started, they've pointed the blame to everywhere. Everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean the Liberals. But a better way of putting that would be they've attempted to point the blame in different ways. First of all, they pointed to the Liberals saying they did it. It was the Liberals. They did it. Right. Because you see that the Liberals had a conspiracy from the start. They thought, hey, I know. Let's call our supporters and direct them to the wrong poll so we don't get in. And when we do get in with just a handful of us in Parliament, then one day we'll wait and we'll all stand up and we'll say, the Conservatives did election fraud to prevent us from getting in this time. Oh, right. Yeah. How stupid do they think people are that anyone would believe that? Their next theory was the one-man theory. That one man did all of this. One man somehow knew all across the country who was voting which way, who was voting Conservative, who wasn't, had the time to do all this, and 200 ridings. Yeah, right. That theory didn't last very long. Then it came down to saying, well, the Liberals have done robocalling too. Well, so what? That's legal. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not election fraud. Then there was the issue with the Liberal caller, who didn't mention that she was from the Liberal Party. So it was a mistake on her part. She did not mention what party she was from. All right, that's okay. That's like me calling you trying to sell a computer and saying, I have a very good computer. Here's very good RAM, very good processor, top of the line. I'm willing to sell it to you for $500. How about it? But I forget to tell you what company I'm calling for. So you say, oh, no, thank you. Maybe I'll think about it. Okay, bye. And then, oh, damn, I forgot to tell you what company I'm from. Is that misleading? Is that manipulative? No, it's a lack of information, that's all. That is not manipulative. That is not election fraud. That was a worker forgetting to say what party that she was calling for, being, of course, an employee of a call center, and forgetting to say, for this particular job, for calling people on this issue, who she was being paid for. She was supposed to say, I am calling for the Liberal Party. Her lack of saying that does not constitute any manipulation or prevention of people getting to polls. That is not election fraud. That is the Conservatives trying to muddy the waters. So, but what that does is it gets everyone thinking, oh, everyone's done election fraud. They've all done election fraud. Oh, the whole thing's messed up. We all know there's corruption in every party, but let's not let them muddy the waters here. There's a big red arrow pointing at the Conservatives here, and they keep trying to push it away, mostly to the Liberals. And it's ridiculous because it belongs on them, and we all know it. Let's not let them muddy the water on this. They're always saying, let's be clear. I want to be clear. This is going to be transparent. We're always transparent. We've always made everything clear. It's interesting, though, because as Freud observed, Sigmund Freud, that when someone uses the word clear a lot, they're probably trying to be deceptive. So yes, and yet everything is clear. Everything is clear. So there is a major scandal here involving election fraud, and the arrow points to the Conservatives. Let's not let them muddy the water on this. This is big, and it's on them. Let's not forget that. So Elections Canada is investigating. Now, some people may think that something's going to come of this. I know a number of people who don't. I know a number of people who feel that they lack the power to do anything about it. I mean, after all, this is the Harper government. Harper at the top, the man, controls the whole damn system. Only the Supreme Court will stand up to him, and although Elections Canada has at times, but there is doubt that they're going to have the power to really do anything about it. I think that there is a better hope for a group called the Council of Canadians. They are taking legal action to get to the bottom of this. And this is a group that has many members, which include Farley Mowat and Margaret Atwood. It doesn't necessarily matter who all the members are, but that they are fighting for the truth, for answers. And that at least has gotten some of the Conservatives worked up and angry over this. Where they didn't appear to be very concerned about Elections Canada, they do seem to be concerned about the Council of Canadians, because they are pursuing legal channels to get to the bottom of this. If it can be established that a lot of these writings were not legitimate, and of course, in every writing in which there was election fraud, depending on how much of it happened, the results would not be accurate, and there should be re-elections in each of those writings, which, like I say, could mean the end of Harper's Conservative government, which we can only hope, but that's one way in which it can happen. Now, obviously, myself and other people here on YouTube have believed very early on that election fraud was responsible for the last election results, simply because after all of those scandals proving that they were a bunch of criminals, it made absolutely no sense their popularity would actually go up. For Conservatives not to give a damn that they're a bunch of criminals and that our economy is suffering and that we're losing a large surplus and going into a large deficit, I mean, okay, I might be willing to buy that, but I'm not going to buy that a whole lot of people that would normally vote, you know, either for the NDP or for the Liberals would suddenly decide to go out and vote for the Conservatives. No, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. How would their popularity be going up after all those scandals? Basic common sense told me there was something really wrong, and basic common sense still tells me that this is not the end of the election fraud being exposed on the Conservatives. This is not the end of it. This is just the beginning. There will be a lot more to come out, I'm sure, in time. I can only hope that it comes out relatively soon in hopes that we might get rid of this party before they continue to do way too much damage. You know, because it's going to take a long, long time to undo all the harm they've done to this country. It's easy to do harm. It's another thing to clean it up. It takes a long time. One man can do a hell of a lot of damage, as we've just discovered. But anyway, this is one form of election fraud that has been exposed. But believe me, I'm sure they've used a number of other methods as well. This is one trick. This is one thing that's been exposed. There may be more tricks to come out yet that may be a lot more shocking than this one.